Who do we have on today here? We got Richard Grace and Book Davies and Cameron Gillis.
Cool.
And Teresa, my sister. She's on.
That's nice.
That's nice. Chris Larson, woohoo, I made it. Busy day. Hope everyone's well. East Texas Stargazer. Howdy from East Texas. I love East Texas. It's great. Mike Wiesner, hi from still windy southern Arizona. And Harold Locke says howdy and happy global star party to everyone. Chris Larson, thanks for reminding me. And Aaron Thompson, good afternoon. Hope everyone has clear skies this week. Yep.
Oh, hey, Aaron.
Yeah.
I've got a little gadget that was sent to me in the email, Scott, that I'd asked Alex what the heck it was.
What is it?
I'm going to show it to you. He said to talk to you about it.
Oh, I know what it is. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's to hold your iPhone. It's for that app that we talked about.
Unfortunately, part of it was 3D printed and it's broken.
Yeah, well, You just need to hold it.
After NASA split Hubble's third servicing mission into two parts to allow astronauts to get to Hubble as soon as possible to replace failing gyroscopes, which are needed to point the telescope accurately, Servicing Mission 3A successfully got Hubble back up and running until Servicing Mission 3B could launch and complete all of the planned upgrades to Hubble. But even in times of ease, the unexpected can make an appearance again.
Houston, Columbia for EVA. Okay, as we put on many workstations, monitoring John's suit, and there's a large bit of water down here at the bottom of the battery. I'm fixing to open up now.
Something unexpected like a spacesuit failure.
Yeah, Scooter, we're going to have to get John out of the suit.
And of course, these things always happen at the worst time, too.
Hubble is without a heartbeat.
Servicing missions are what make Hubble, Hubble. For over 2 decades, servicing mission astronauts have been able to take advantage of Hubble's malleable design. Being able to upgrade and refurbish parts periodically is how Hubble has been able to stay on the bleeding edge of astronomical science. And Servicing Mission 3B was no exception to that fact.
We're providing a major upgrade in terms of science capability. We're adding a new science instrument, and we're bringing back to life the infrared camera, and we're making important upgrades in terms of maintenance, where we're adding new solar arrays and we're changing the power control unit.
40% of the highest impact subjects that Hubble has highest impact results that Hubble has achieved were totally unexpected before Hubble was launched. And I expect that 5 or 7 years from now, Hubble will be working on subjects that we can't anticipate today. We don't even know how to ask the questions today.
And with the anticipation of those unknown discoveries building, Servicing Mission 3B was scheduled to launch in the spring of 2002, ready to make its mark on the stars.
4, 3, 2, 1, and liftoff of Space Shuttle Columbia to broaden our view of the universe through the Hubble Space Telescope.
Houston now controlling the side of Columbia, the Pioneer shuttle headed for the Hubble Space Telescope.
Houston, we have Hubble on our end.
With the Hubble Space Telescope fully grappled, it was time to get to work. This servicing mission was going to encompass a wide range of upgrades and improvements, so every minute of this 12-day mission was meticulously planned in order to complete the 5 scheduled spacewalks. First up, replace the old solar arrays with the new and improved version 3 of the solar array system. These new solar arrays were rigid and didn't roll up like previous designs. Being more robust, it made Hubble's power intake increase by about 20 to 30%.
Solar Array 3 has passed its functional test and ready to support.
Next on the list, replacing the power control unit. This is Hubble's power switching station, responsible for distributing all the electricity generated by the arrays and batteries and sending it to the other parts of the telescope. And in order for the power control unit to be replaced, it required Hubble to be completely powered down for the first time. One of the cardinal rules in the business of space is if it's working well, don't turn it off. During the systematic shutdown process, astronauts John Grunsfeld and Rick Lenehan were suiting up to tackle the next spacewalk. However, John's spacesuit began to take on water from the liquid coolant system. Not the most ideal situation to happen right before stepping out into the cold void of space. With only a certain amount of time to react, since parts of Hubble were already shut down, Grunsfeld's crewmates quickly resized another spacesuit in order to get the spacewalker out in time before the whole spacewalk had to be canceled.
And a late but hopefully powerful start.
With things back on track, the heart of Hubble, the power control unit, was successfully changed out after a meticulous 7-hour spacewalk. Next was to install the advanced camera for surveys. This camera would allow Hubble to capture wider vistas of the universe at a higher resolution than ever before, allowing us to study weather patterns on other planets and understand how the universe evolved. And finally, the astronauts of Servicing Mission 3B were able to bring one of Hubble's most critical instruments, called MICMOS, back to life after it had been dormant for 2 years. They achieved this by installing a cryocooler for its infrared detectors, once again unleashing Hubble's power to peer into the invisible infrared universe. Servicing Mission 3B proved that NASA can take on the unexpected head-on as a team, accomplishing historical strides in our understanding of the universe around us.
And from the crew of STS-109, we've just Hubble well on its new journey with its new tools to explore the universe. Good luck, Mr. Hubble.
Well, hello, everybody. This is Scott Roberts with the Explore Alliance presentation of the OpenGOTO Community. This is our 133rd episode.
Yeah,
Isn't that crazy?
133.
How did we get here?
133 and a third.
Now, does it got, how many sides are to it?
Yeah,
Is it
that's right. So that's,
you know,
that's 4/3. Just like
that's right.
it's 4/3 times 100.
It's over 60 albums, you know,
That's right.
Nearly 70 albums and a giant book, you know.
That's right.
Yeah. But yeah, it's been great doing these shows. Jerry and I were talking about, you know, just the fact that we've done so many of them, but we've all enjoyed it very much. And, you know,
I think we've always had, we haven't had too much problem coming up with things to talk about. It's been a pretty wide variety of stuff.
Sometimes we're like racking our brain going, okay, what are we transitioning to now? But, you know, there's so much
different. It's different now than it was when we first started.
Yeah. Right. Oh, before we get really into it, Fred Espenak was kind enough to send me copies of his Eclipse Almanac, which you can check on. This is 10 years of solar and lunar eclipses. So, you know, with really nice maps in it, you know, which is really cool. And, you know, so I love that. And then he's got his 50-year almanac of astronomical events from 2021 to 2070. Now, this one is kind of just, it's page after page of
look at
data.
That.
So,
no drawings.
No drawings, no pictures. Sorry, Jerry. Yeah. Wait.
Yeah.
There's one picture in here.
No calculations.
No, there's some pictures on the back of his other books and stuff.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
But a great reference, you know. I mean, who else does this? You know, only Fred Espenak. So it's really cool.
Right.
But he was on our show doing an Explore Now presentation where he introduced those books. And, you know, I just asked him, I said, geez, you know, 2070, Fred, I think, well, Jerry might live to be that old, but I don't think I'm going to. So
that's
you know,
110, 111. You'd be like,
you'll make it. You're going to do it.
You'd be like Bilbo Baggins, 11 years old.
11D1.
Yeah, that's 111. That's how old he was.
That's pretty old.
11D1.
Pretty old. Well, we are living to be older and stuff. So, but
our kids will probably live to be 100 pretty easy.
No restream bot on Twitch. Huh, Richard? I don't understand why not. That's kind of weird.
It's twitchy.
Twitchy. sometimes Restream occasionally craps out on their it's happened to me 2 or 3 times. Once, actually twice, the whole thing just didn't work, and I would have to go onto individual channels and work with it. But we're up on YouTube and Facebook, and I don't know how I got you. Oh, I think it's up now. I see you, dude, but kind of weird. Anyways, tonight is our 34th Global Star Party. And you're going to see.
Quite a run. That's quite a run.
Yeah, it's quite a run. I don't know how many virtual star party. I mean, I know other people have done them, but as far as doing sequentially as many as we have, I would say we might be one of the leaders out there.
You think anything's really changed over the last 33 episodes? I know we went to hosting groups hosting the party along with.
Yes, we did that. We had some pretty cool ones. Astronomy Magazine did one with all their entire staff of their editorial staff did one. We've had astronomy clubs do them.
Right. 24 hours of
the astronaut, the Great Conjunction,
right.
So it was almost 24 hours. That was pretty cool. That was with the Royal Astronomical Society of Canada, which is very cool. We did one with the Night Sky Network, very interesting, So, we're just here to try to bring all the different flavors of what these organizations are all about. And, these are all great organizations to be part of, so.
Right.
We have to have you and I talked about having the Mark Slade Remote Observatory host one. So.
Yeah, that's right. And I'm actually on the observatory right now preparing for tonight to see what our skies are clearing up. We had some clouds earlier about an hour ago.
So in mission control, you don't have any ceiling. It looks like you're looking up in the sky right now.
Yeah, it's out the window. I got a window seat. So my office is a glass office, and with my back, with my stuff. You see the sun shining on my hand?
Yeah. Oh, that's weird.
That's peeking through the
it's
shade.
Like a Stonehenge kind of effect or something,
So the sun's setting outside my window. I've got a window seat in my office.
Yeah. Harold Locke says, your presentations have always been great since I stumbled across your work and company. Thank you, Harold. Very kind.
I wonder how you stumbled across us.
Yeah, how did you stumble across us, Harold?
Hope is.
I have stumbled in my life, I'm not
Right.
going to tell you all the reasons why, but
You have a good trip. See you next fall.
See you next fall. Hardy har.
You need the sound effects on this stuff.
Oh yeah, hold on, I got it right.
Yeah, you got.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So, and tomorrow we have Damian Peach is, we're going to have another afternoon of Damian Peach, which is very cool. Incredible planetary astrophotographer. He does all kinds of astrophotography. A very nice man, and gave us an afternoon, and it all worked until we had a little bit of a internet interruption, which can sometimes happen. It's happened to us before where we had internet blowout, and usually
we have to cancel something.
Huh?
We delayed a show. We were trying to get you back up and running. I remember one early show. You spent a half an hour trying to get everything rebooted. We were late. I remember that.
You know what that's like when you're first starting something like that, and then it's all like blowing up in front of you, and you're just like freaking out.
Yeah.
So,
that's that gremlin. That's that presentation gremlin that always shows up when you're ready to show something.
Yeah, I find the tipping point is to do 100 shows. Once you're past 100,
is that what it is? Oh, okay.
Then you just get a lot more relaxed and stuff, and everybody's a friend, and It's really cool, so. But
and everybody's seen everything, so you don't have anything to be embarrassed about anymore.
well, they haven't seen it all, but they've seen a lot. So,
in this scope of this broadcast.
Yeah. We've had some great people on our programs. We've had JPL scientist on. Rosalie Lopez was on with us before. Alan Stern has been on our program twice, and that's been wonderful. Been learning, we got to learn all about Clyde Tombaugh and
Right.
Pluto and stuff. So it's just, it's amazing. I thought that was such an amazing show because we had David Levy on, who was personal, like best friends with Clyde Tombaugh and his wife. And he wrote his biography. So he knew a lot about him, and had a lot of personal anecdotes. And then, having Alan Stern, the only guy to take him and his team taking a spacecraft to the planet, Pluto,
Yeah.
and,
Dave Eicher.
Dave Eicher and their editorial staff. That was
Yep.
cool. It was just
And he knew.
I was pinching myself about this program. So
Yeah.
it was really very, very cool. Very cool. I wish there was like a reader's guide to some of these programs because it's just so amazing.
Well, it'd be nice if it's a lot of work to go through each of these programs and to index it.
Yeah.
That'd be a cool project for somebody out there in our audience that would love to do that for us.
I would love to volunteer. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Volunteer. Any volunteers?
Any volunteers to help us? Yeah. that
Help
would
us
be
do
awesome.
some very mundane kind of work.
Right. And to get to see all our videos at the same time.
And you do get to see all the videos. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, somebody here was binge watching all the videos just to catch up, to where we are now.
Yeah,
So,
right.
that's very cool. Pekka says, how could I miss the start again? Hello, everyone from Stockholm, Sweden.
Hey, Pekka.
Hey, Pekka. So, Caesar Brolo, tonight's show on the Global Star Party, we're going to have Molly Wakeling is going to do a special presentation about the Voyager spacecraft, which I think is very cool. Caesar's son, Augustine, I'm not sure how to pronounce it yet. I was saying Augustine, but and maybe that's how you pronounce it, but it's Augustine, maybe?
Augustine?
Yeah, Augustine, that could be. But he's into astrophotography and image processing. So he's going to show the audience how to do some image processing. Hoping to see you guys on the after party, so we're going to put out the link and everything to the after party.
Is Kent still the doorman to get in?
He is still the doorman. Yeah. He opens up this door. You can hear it squeaking, as he
doesn't have the little sliding door and you have to say the secret word.
Thing you have to say the password. That's right.
Right.
Uh-huh.
Like during
Make it like a
Prohibition.
speakeasy.
During Prohibition.
Right. But we hope that you guys join us tonight. If you've never been on and you're feeling a little shy about it, don't. It's a lot of fun. And, we're not going to throw anyone to any wolves because we don't have wolves watch our program.
No, we don't.
Maybe we have aliens watching it, but,
Well, I don't know if this stuff's broadcast into space, really. We're not unless somebody's connected over the satellite network. Maybe it's Starlink if they're
connected to Starlink.
Then it would be broadcast. So
That's right.
if they tried to tune into us over at Starlink, then they would. And the other thing, so the Hughes network or the Dish network, maybe if they got satellite internet, maybe.
They're out there. They're listening. So that's right.
They're here. What are you talking about?
Here?
They could be watching live right now. I'm sure there's some aliens out in the audience somewhere.
Yeah, I'm sure if they're around, they're here. That's true.
They'll be paying attention to you. I can tell you that because you were in a group that was trying to find these guys one time.
No, that's true. They weren't trying to find them. They thought they would be picked up by them,
Oh, okay. They were hitching a ride. They were hitchhiking.
Yeah, it was the wasn't Heaven's Gate. It was, they had the Enclave of Light. So many years ago, I was on this program called Stanley Tonight. And the show host, Stanley. I think this is like one of his last television programs. He was now stuck. He used to do like national television, and then he was he did like some of his final shows on a local channel in San Diego, like Channel 51. You know, like when you used to go to the different channels like that. And back when the switcher was round. Right, and I think he had a UHF channel or something.
Had a clicker.
Oh yeah, a clicker. Well, if you were rich, you had a clicker.
If you were rich, you had a clicker.
Yeah, right, and a color television set, but we didn't. We had black and white, and you had to do it by hand.
That's what your kids were for. Don't change the channel.
That's right. Hold the rabbit ears up with the aluminum foil and stuff, you know. Ken says, finally you realize we are among you.
We had a suspicion.
Suspicion about Ken? Yeah, that's right. Jeff Y says, I remember when TV remotes made sounds. Jeff, I remember when there were no TV remotes.
I went from the TV remote making sound to you screaming at the TV.
I don't know. You know, I was born in 59. There might have been remotes, maybe.
They were wired.
They were probably like a big box, you know, with
a big thick cable.
Right.
Thick cable running to the TV.
Right. It looked like your 1950s.
This big synchro motor thing. Yeah, this big synchro motor thing. You turn the thing and it would synchro it and turn the channel. This big whopping thing here.
Yes. Right.
Synchro.
So, but yeah, we're getting ready for our star party. We're all set, and I think it's going to be a nice one. So, but thanks once again to Fred Espinac, and just to give a shout out again for Jerry Hubbell. He's got 2 books. This is the one I keep on my desk. Remote Observatories for Amateur Astronomers. If you have not read this book and you're thinking about a remote observatory, this is what Kent and I talked about yesterday, is different ways to have a remote observatory. And we were talking about enclosures. And I will share this just one more time because I think it's worthwhile sharing it. But
I didn't get to watch yesterday's
episode. Yeah, I have to get Jerry up to speed.
I got something I want to show you on the camera that I don't know. You told me what it was before. I wanted to show everybody.
What is it? Oh, that thing. Yeah. This fits on top of a 60 millimeter refractor, and it holds an iPhone.
It'll hold my phone too.
And there's a special app. There's a special app that goes along with it, and it connects via Bluetooth. And as you point the telescope, it shows you which constellations you're looking at.
And this is a little sight, right? That you line up the crosshair thing there.
Right.
I'm tilting it back and forth. You line up the crosshairs, and that should be where you're pointed at with the phone, right?
Yes. But check this out, Jerry. This is very cool. This is called a Motello scope, I think. And you can buy, it's kind of like a kit. You see, like it's an enclosure. Okay, so you have your concrete pier. There's this metal structure that goes along on the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
Motello scope, huh?
Myron would be. So give your telescope a motel, you know.
Yeah, Myron would be interested in this thing.
Yeah. Look at that.
Write that down. Motello scope. That's cool. It's just so it fits over top and you just lift it off.
It's over top, you know, keeps your scope dry, keeps, you know, I mean, your telescope's always set up, you know.
I guess it's open at the bottom. I guess you could cover it up with plastic or something underneath.
Yeah, you make a floor for it. You can see it's got a floor
Oh, okay. I see.
like that.
I see. Mm-hmm.
And it looks like there's like maybe this is foam rubber stripping
Oh,
on
for
all
the
four
seal.
corners. So just is real simple. But we were talking about ways to
That's kind of neat looking.
maximize your observing time or your imaging time, because it's the person that does it more than the next person that makes you the
That's
better
right.
astronomer, right?
That's right. You have
So-
to practice the craft. What is
Yeah.
that thing? What is that thing made out of? How much does it weigh? Do you know? Is it made out of plastic?
Pretty light. I mean, it's pretty light. Let me
Like
look
plastic
see
sheeting
if
or
I can
something?
find more pictures here.
You could almost build something like that yourself with plastic sheeting and duct tape.
Yes. Well, actually, once you look at it, you can see for sure. Here's one on cloudy nights. So let's see. Yeah, and it shows him building it. So this is kind of
Okay.
cool. And by the way, we love what we see on cloudy nights. It's great, you know.
That's the first form I found when I started down this path about 13 years ago.
Yeah, this is from I Like Pie. Hi,
I
all.
Like
Getting
Pie.
back in the hobby. Old permanent setup was basically rotting away in the back garden. Okay, so here he is. He's built his pier out of bricks.
Oh, that's
Okay.
interesting. Uh-huh.
Right? You don't need to get real elaborate. I mean, who would know that this was a telescope in your backyard?
It looks like a doghouse on a pedestal.
Yeah.
You could paint a fake oval opening in the front, so make it look like a
Right.
doghouse.
Yeah, but it's got the
Put
whole
rover.
scope in there. And so and I mean, this is the best way to get your scope cooled down too. You don't have to worry about the building or anything. You know, you just
Right,
take this
right.
cover off and away you go. I suppose you could put fans into the walls or something to cool it down.
Yeah, to keep it dry, to get the air flowing in there to cool it down.
Right. And then there's, we saw some other really funny ones. Let's see. Telescope enclosures. But we just want to give some ideas to people to, here's a cool one. Check this out. So that's like this little vertical, it's just on wheels, it's cut out on the bottom.
That's like our station too. That's exactly what we have at the MSRO.
And this one over here, that's just a kind of a,
I
mean, this would only cost probably a couple of $100 to build,
Yeah, right.
You don't need this, okay? You don't need like some giant Gemini system. Of course, I do like observatory domes.
A clamshell. I like the clamshell design.
Yeah, look at that. That's cool.
Nice. I like that design.
It's a little bit more work.
Yeah.
Miniature exoplanet radial velocity. All right, that's you. Look at this one. Little roll-off roof.
With the fold-down side.
Yeah.
Because that probably rolls off to the north, maybe, and then the southern sky. No, I can't tell where the gem is pointed at for north on that scope.
Not sure. Look at this one. Nobody would guess that this is an observatory.
No.
Right? And that's the cool thing about it. Here's one. This is like a flip top.
Yeah, that's a flip top. I wanted to put something like that on my roof with a little telescope, remote control, an 80 millimeter or 102 millimeter on top of my roof with the flip top lid like that, where you can flip it open. That's pretty nice.
Let's see. There was a police station, police booth, telescope enclosure. Let's see if I can find. Oh, here it is.
Oh,
check that one out.
That looks like the Doctor Who.
Mm-hmm.
What's it
The
called?
TARDIS.
The TARDIS. Yeah, the TARDIS. I was getting ready to say tardigrade. How are your tardigrades?
That's
How
where
are
I
your
keep my
tardigrades doing?
tardigrades.
Yeah, how are your tardigrades doing?
Look at this guy trying to climb out of it. It's kind of weird, but yeah, I don't know if there's like maybe a doghouse one.
I guess that
Maybe
other
your
one we
dog
looked
could
at,
use it, you
that one
know?
we looked at first, up on the bricks, looked like a giant birdhouse, really, on top of a pier.
Yeah. And then you could, you know, if you want to add on to it, you can use our observatory tent. You know, have some friends come over and you just pop it up for them. And
Oh, look at that one with the flip up. The one in the lower right there. That's halfway shown.
this,
No, the lower right. It's cut off a
this
little bit. That one right there.
noise canceling kennel. That's actually really for dogs, though.
Oh, is that what that is? Oh, okay.
Yeah. I guess you could shoo your dog out and
Look at this sheepdog.
I'm taking over, Rover. Look at this one. He's got a sky view. Look at
Oh
that.
yeah, that's
Cool.
Yeah,
Put a little telescope in there.
that's his little warm room.
Binoculars in there for
That's his
him.
warm room, and then he's got his dome room.
Yeah. Well, enough horsing around.
Quit playing with the horse.
Yeah. Right.
Cut out the horseplay. Quit playing with the horse.
That's right, horse. That's right. Well, I'm turning over the program to you now, Jerry.
Okay. Uh-oh.
It's all yours.
All right. Let me see what I can do here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get back into this a taxonomy of stellar image errors. That's a fancy word.
You need to do your
Taxonomy.
best, announcer voice.
Yes.
That's right. A taxonomy.
A taxonomy of bad imaging.
Film at 11.
Film at 11. So today we're going to cover atmospheric refraction error. I can't keep it up. That's the only thing. The atmospheric refraction error is the next thing on the list, and we've been over it before.
Yes.
When we were talking about declination drift and up top there, when we had something declination drift in the mount, we referred to the atmospheric refraction error for some reason. We got onto that subject in the previous video, but I'm going to cover it again today since it's on the list, and we're getting close to the end. All right, so there's a lot of. This is 3 items right here, right? So there's probably 25 items here, 25 to 30. I've got to count them up again. So what atmospheric refraction error is that, and you can kind of see it like in the summertime when you got heat waves coming off the road. Down close to the road surface, you got this bubbling atmosphere, right? You're looking through a long section of atmosphere right at the horizon, basically, and you got heat coming off the road, and that little bit of that scintillation, that's what causes scintillation, is the atmospheric moving around like that. But so that's kind of like what we're talking about here. But the refractive error is really it bends the light over the sphere. Okay, so the Earth's surface is round, right? So when the sun goes down below the horizon, all right, the atmosphere, when you get close to the horizon, the atmosphere actually bends the light and makes it higher than what it actually is. So if we had vacuum, if we were on the moon looking at the sun, we'd be looking at it straight. It'd be a straight shot. Light would not be bending over the moon's surface like it does on the Earth's surface when it passes through the atmosphere. So the atmosphere refracts the light and bends it so that it appears higher than it actually is. So you actually get to see the sun longer as it sets. By the time you see it set, it had already been set for about, I'm going to guess 5 minutes, maybe 3 minutes. So when the last part of the sun is actually going below the Earth's horizon, and it's down below the horizon, you probably can still see the whole sun above the horizon. All right, and that's what atmospheric refraction is, and it really is quite amount of difference in altitude between the object that you're looking at and what the true altitude is. So when you look up high in the sky, like at 60-degree altitude, okay, the starlight is coming pretty much straight through the atmosphere to you. It's not really being shifted in altitude very much at all. All right, a little bit. But as the star sets, as it gets closer to the horizon, it starts to bend the light. And now, if you were to track that star as it's getting close to the horizon, if you're down below 30-degree altitude, now the star starts to lag, okay? It starts to shift compared to where your mount says it should be. The mount says it should be right there. I know it,
right.
You know, but the atmosphere is saying, no, it's over here. It's up here a little bit. So that's what the effect is. So because this is related to the altitude and not to the right ascension and declination axis, right? The right ascension declination axis is at an angle to the horizon. That means that the relative error affects both the right ascension and the declination. It's caused drift in both these axes at the same time. And that's what I'm talking about, these first two: atmospheric refraction declination drift.
Yeah.
And right ascension drift. So you lag in both, basically, as you get closer to the horizon. And there's a calculation to correct for it. King, what's his first name? King developed the calculation to correct for refractive error. And
E.S. King.
E.S. King. It's actually the rate. You calculated what the rate correction is. So you see in mounts, sometimes you'll see a way to cause your mount to track at the King rate, which the PMC-Eight does. I put that in the PMC-Eight. So it offsets the value and the rate for the King rate, and it corrects for that. And what the mount is actually doing is it's the average King rate. It's not, you could calculate the actual rate. You can adjust it continuously depending on what the altitude is that you're pointing at. That's a little higher level of calculation. It's possible, and it's not that hard to do, really. Maybe that's something I would add in the future to the ASCOM driver. So what this does now, so the key thing here is this, so we know what these effects are. What does it do to your image? And it's just like anything else. If you think your tracking is off, if you're not guiding your star very well, you might get a little oblong star. You see, so your star starts to get, instead of round, it gets to be an oval. It starts to smear. So if you're not aware of this effect and you're seeing this on your images and you're at 30-degree altitude and you're taking an image of a star or a group of stars, whatever, and you start to see them become oblong, you say, well, what the heck's wrong with my auto guiding? It's screwed up, you know? Now, auto guiding should theoretically take care of it at some level because you're tracking it both in declination and RA. But if you're not tracking it, if you're not auto guiding, you'll definitely see it. Even if your mount is perfect. Let's say you're tracking at sidereal rate at 30 degrees altitude. That's when you would see it in your images. And that's when you would use the King rate to help compensate for that. Theoretically, the King rate. Now, the error also is not just the rate causing, it's your pointing error. So if you go to let's say you get your mount perfectly aligned, it's a great pointing mount. It can point to any object within, let's say, 30 arc seconds, okay, which is really excellent. and you point to a star down below 30 degrees altitude and it misses it by 5 arc minutes or 10 arc minutes. You're saying, what the heck is that?
Yeah.
What's wrong with my pointing? And it's because you didn't take into account the atmospheric refraction error. So that's something to keep in mind for go-tos. It's really more impactful on a go-to when you're going to a new location in the sky than it is a tracking error. It's very slight tracking error. If you're only doing like 1 minute images, then you probably wouldn't see it until you got really low in the sky. But what you will see, and if you're doing color images, you'll see the light start to spread out a little bit also. All right, so that's another refractive error that will cause your stars to become oblong. The light starts to spread because the atmosphere acts like a prism and spreads the light out a little bit. And that's what, I think that's what causes a green flash when the sun sets also. You see that slight spreading of the light?
Oh, yeah. I love to see that. You can see it on the moon, too.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of cool.
I've seen it once.
So that's cool. So that's what atmospheric refraction, that's how it impacts your images. The last thing, and I just talked about that, the chromatic effect. That's where it spreads the light of the star into a rainbow of colors like a prism. And that results in non-round stellar images also. So that's it for refraction error.
Wow. Very cool. So if you see, one of the things I like about those little enclosures is that, you know, you have this little tiny footprint, you know, that you're not trying to cool off this building. You don't have this roll off roof that you have to worry about. Right. You know, so those kind of enclosures are kind of nice. When I went to Chile for the eclipse, we were at the Cerro Tololo Observatory, and they had these observatories that were just basically a giant concrete pillar coming up. There was a floor, and then there was like this it was round, but it was these things just unwrapped like that. Yeah. And the scope was exposed, you know, right. Totally remote operation, you know, but you know, you could do something that's similar to that.
Right.
But I like that kind of stealthy, I don't know, your neighbors don't know what it is that you're doing. And I think that is, you know, especially if you live in a condominium complex or something, and you don't want your neighbors to report you and, you know, fine you for having some sort of weird thing in your backyard.
I was trying to share, I've got the remote observatory. For people that haven't seen it, I wanted to show what our observatory looks like inside.
E.S. King, it's Edward Skinner King, and he was from Hamilton College, and he joined the staff of Harvard Observatory, wrote a book called, his book was called something about astrophotography or celestial imaging.
Mm-hmm.
And he developed the algorithm known as the King tracking rate, which corrects the tracking rate of a telescope to account for atmospheric refraction. So I'm sure that there was, and yeah, his book was called A Manual of Celestial Photography. I remember I used to carry that book at OPT back in the day.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was published all the way up to 1980, late 80s. And and he's also one of the developers of the cold camera, which I did not know. That's where you put dry ice into to freeze the film, and that would, I guess, leach out the oxygen molecules in the emulsion.
Oh, okay.
And allow you to keep shooting on it, you know. So otherwise what would happen is the molecules, the silver halide crystals would you know, maximize or you know, be as changed as they could be from photons hitting it. And so you wouldn't, you know, twice the exposure didn't give you, or twice the exposure time didn't give you twice the result on film.
Right.
That's what reciprocity failure is.
Failure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Electronic imagers don't suffer from that. That's the cool thing.
No, but they do overflow.
They do overflow. That's true. Very true.
Well, that's the same film. You can overexpose film too. It's the same way.
Mike Wiesner said, some of my neighbors thought my Sky Shed pod was a water storage tank. Richard Gray says his is going to be on top of the hill and 15 to 20 feet up. So he doesn't think it's going to be incognito.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a question too, before we get too far away. Adrian Nowick said, how big are these errors? Okay. And I think you answered that the errors could be arc minutes off.
Yeah. So it depends on the effect, but if you've downloaded the document from the forum and looked at it, each of these errors have different levels of magnitude and effect on your image. You know, you can have, but again, it depends on the how good your mount is, how good your scope is. You know, you got how far off you are from perfect in terms of adjustment and tuning. You know, some of these errors get worse as you get further away from perfect, right? So it's not, and some of them are fixed. Some errors could be a fixed value. It just depends.
Right.
Altogether, it could make a pretty messy image.
Yes, it can.
And not to discourage any beginners, but you know, when I was a beginner, my images were pretty bad. Of course, I didn't have the technology we have today, but my first images were taken with a Polaroid camera in 1976 of the moon. And I was lucky to be able to image the moon and have it look the same as what you can see with your naked eye. No, you know, you could see some of the craters.
Yeah.
You couldn't really see.
Yeah, so your expectation level wasn't, you know,
right
through the roof, right?
Right, so, exactly. But it was cool. It was cool to capture the image and to be able to, you know, instead of just drawing the image, you know, you could capture it, you know. And I got a Polaroid camera for Christmas. And
I can imagine how thrilled they were to capture the first images on like wet collodion plates and daguerreotypes and stuff like that.
Well, you get an objective piece of data now instead of your impression that you're putting out on paper as a drawing.
Yeah, and something you can actually share. You can say,
right, and people can say, like, you can do measurements on it. You can say, this is how big that crater is. Okay, well, how do you know? Well, you measure it and see how. See what you get.
You get after your calipers.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Clearlight says, you said yesterday you shouldn't let a non-perfect night stop you from setting up. So even though it's windy tonight, the skies are clear. That's right.
You should observe as many nights as you can, even if
because you'll always learn completely something. Being blown down. You know,
right. Right. Exactly. You can even partly cloudy. You'll learn something. And you'll practice. It's practice.
I have many partly cloudy, you know, observing sessions.
You don't always go after the perfect image. You train yourself. You want to update your skills and knowledge by getting out there and doing and practicing. It's a practice, just like medicine.
That's right. That's right. Yeah, and you know, Cesar Brolo is a perfect example of setting up in a windy situation. That's the reason why he's called 100-mile-per-hour Cesar. So.
Oh, is that right?
That's why. Well, he was out there for that total eclipse. You know, it was blowing like crazy. Okay, up there on his balcony, he was blowing away his telescope. So we could barely hear him over the buffeting. It sounded like
he's talking in a hurricane. Like, Scott, I'm out here in the wind trying to observe Mars. Mars is up today. It's windy, so I'm trying to get Mars to stay down, to stay steady. Can you hear me, Scott?
Can you hear me? His face is flapping in the wind. You know?
Like the guys that are in the rocket sled with the G-force.
Rocket sled.
Right.
Oh, man. So, Clear Light says, hey, the scope can be repaired. Then the clouds came in after all that setup trouble. Figures. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, don't give up. Just go out there and observe no matter what, you know?
Right.
That's
And
right.
if it takes you, and once you get your observatory set up, a permanent place, then it only takes you like 2 minutes to open the door and get going.
Flip those latches, pull the doghouse off, you know,
And
make
turn
Fido
everything
get
on,
out.
turn everything on, and observe for 20 minutes, and then shut it down.
Exactly. Right. Yeah. You know, and that way your spouse won't be like yelling at you all the time. Okay.
All right. Just tell her you're going to the
Your
bathroom.
1 hour setup time and your 1 hour tear down time, you know.
Tell them you're going to the outhouse to go to the bathroom.
You know, an outhouse enclosure might actually make a good, you know.
Well, that's what that one you showed there. That's kind of like we have on Station 2. It looks like an outhouse. It's a full door.
It looked like an outhouse. That's true. That's true. I think that's probably the most innocuous one, you know, because nobody's going to want to go unless they have to go to go into your, you know, outhouse observatory.
Right.
Could be ugly afterwards. Well, okay. So I think we'll wrap up the show with that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
So
I would say something. I'm not going to say it.
Yeah, don't say it. That's right. Join us tonight. We'll be starting to log on probably about, the pre-show, you know, where we just have like stars flying in the background and you can hear people's voices. Might be anywhere from like 6:30 to 6:45. And then we start broadcasting live at 7 p.m. Central tonight. And it will go as long as it goes. So if we have after party guests showing up, you know, happy to have you. And I think that's been a very interesting part of our program. But we've got great guests on tonight. You're not going to want to miss. Oh, and I forgot to mention that Dave Eicher is going to do a special, really kind of something different tonight, which is going to be really cool. So I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be very nice. You guys keep looking up, wishing you clear skies tonight. And we'll see you in a couple of hours. Okay, so take care. And until then.